chill.
So gang, that is day one of London Comic Con. In the books, in the pocket, out of sight. And it was a great day. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Amazing setup. I got to meet some people who watched the show, which just absolutely made my day. Thank you so much, guys, for coming over and saying hello. That was awesome. Hopefully I'll meet some more people tomorrow. I had a great time going around the Hasbro booth. Got to have a little chat to Dan Yun, which was awesome. And the whole team there were just very, very cool to talk to. So I'm going to go to the panel tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be some awesome stuff to talk about from that. In the meantime, though, you guys want to check out what Hasbro had to offer. Let's do that. Let's do this. I was so amazed at how up to date everything was. Literally hot off the pulse stream and now here for us to gawk at. So we've got the Spider-Man 2-pack. Gotta say, I'm not a huge fan myself. I think Carnage looks a little bit tacky with the basic color scheme. It's so basic. I'm not taken by it. Black costume Spider-Man, I think, is much more striking with those blue highlights. I kind of love those. But these were the main event for the day. Less than 24 hours removed from being debuted online, here they are at London Comic Con. That's terrific. Wonder Man, I love him with the jacket. Baron von Strucker with his bright luminous green, wonderful, and Black Widow. A lot of grumbling about the old female body being used, and I get that. Speaking of bodies, there's Mojo, and he looks fun. He's bigger than I was expecting. He's a big boy, big chunky monkey. So he will dominate any shelf and look pretty gross doing it. But if we go back to these guys, that's what we want to see. And yeah, it is disappointing that this isn't on the modern figure because she looks so great otherwise. But with the red jacket on Wonder Man, old school classic, you can pose him next to Beast, that'll look great. And Strucker with your Hydra army, that'll be bee's knees. So yeah, back to the animated ones, they look fine, but that's all it is. It's just kind of fine. But really, West Coast Avengers, that's what gets me kind of excited right there. And then these two, I think this is part of what's going to be a really strong wave. I'm really excited to see what the other figures are going to be and what the builder figure for this wave is going to be. Real classic mainstream comic book Marvel characters.
Displaying-Model-Behaviour!
Hey, look who it is!
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you in person.
Pleasure, real pleasure to meet you.
So here we go with the new X-Men wave in their packaging, and we've got Multiple Man here, and with the racing green and that lovely gold accent, it really does look quite striking. I love these retro card backs. It's not the X Factor Multiple Man, who was the one that was in super high demand that made me give up on collecting X Factor because I was like, I'm never going to get him. But it was great because on one side of the display they had them all in their card backs, and then on the other side you could see them out and about, posed and looking the business. Although I gotta say, their posing game, not the strongest. I'd be getting a bit more articulation go on in there, make it look a bit more dynamic, but hey, that's just me. Then we've got Longshot, who was kind of a curiosity, wasn't he? Because we got him in the box set, just like Mojo himself, and then we get the single release as well. Go figure. But with all of his straps and pockets and pouches, he does look fun. There's a lot going on there. You can see him there with the big Bowie knife as well, the wonderful, glorious Kentucky waterfall mullet as well. Doesn't matter what the generation is on Mojo World, it's always acceptable. Then we got these dang yellow and blue costumes I had no interest in until I saw them in person. And that Wolverine face, the grimacing face, that face tech, man, it just puts it on another level. You see all three of these guys together and they look so good, especially Banshee. Banshee looks the bomb. He looks kind of chunkier, like a little bit thicker. But I mean, he's in scale with everything else. I don't know, he just looked like a bigger figure to my eye in a good way. And all of them just pop so beautifully with those yellows and blues. Banshee with the collar as well to make him a bit more distinct. I really love him. I really love him. Storm with the nice haircut as well, that slightly more punky kind of look. I don't need a separate set of X-Men, but Oh, it would be tempting. The modern Legends, I really do mark out for them. I really, really do. So speaking of which, we've got the rest of this line now. So Avalanche, I think the face on Avalanche is a bit disappointing. I mean, come on, you're causing earthquakes and whatnot. He should look more... But Phoenix looks gorgeous, and Spiral, I'm pretty sure, is going to be the highlight of this wave. I mean, just the engineering that's gone into putting her together. I think a lot of us were dismissing the idea of getting her because we're like, nah, they're not going to do that. But they did. So, kudos to that one. I can't wait to get my hands on her. Then we can see Pretty Boy, rumored to be part of a 5-pack. And the robotic body, it's fine. Like, it does the job. If you want a pretty boy, he's going to go great with your Reavers. And at least Avalanche looks a bit more dynamic here. But again, the neutral expression on the face, it's a bit of a shame. Phoenix looks gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. I might pilfer the flaming Phoenix for my Jean Grey Mafex. That'll look great. And then Strife, again, rumored to be part of that 5-pack along with Pretty Boy. So many people are going to be thrilled to be able to add him to their villains display without having to fork out like $150 on eBay. And then Spiral herself, put her in a flight stand and she is going to look bee's knees. I'm going to have her she's just going to look amazing. So excited to get my hands on her. Now we got some Transformers. So if you guys are Transformers fans, this is for you here. We got Deathsaurus. Again, so hot off the press, just announced less than 24 hours ago, and here is the unpainted prototype. And it looks grand. I gotta say, it looks decent, but I think they look better unpainted, because then when they're painted, like the Star Saber here, is it Victory Saber? I just feel it's a bit too plasticky for my liking. It feels more like a toy than an action figure. And I understand that's what Transformers have got to be, because they transform. You know what, Dave? The clue's in the name. But that's why I like my non-transforming Transformers, because they can look a bit more impressive with their paint decos and whatnot without having to worry about moving parts and all that kind of thing. But hey, I'm not knocking them, because I love the lore of Transformers. I mean, the 86 movie is still one of my all-time favorite movies, unironically, of all time. I dig it. And the backstories and the lineage, like, is it Leo Convoy, the Japanese lion guy? I'm going to move up to him at some point. There we go. Well done, Dave. And I think the design is beautiful. This mech Optimus Prime, but then with lion parts as well. I just wish that there was a bit more detailed paintwork. But this Decepticon, I forget his name, but with the Decepticon insignia as his face, that is badass. I love that. Then we're going to have a few guys that I'm not actually familiar with. They all had their name tags, of course, but it was busy already. First thing on Friday morning, and already it was jam-packed. And I'm worried about what tomorrow is going to be like, because it's going to be intensity intensities. It really is. There's Blur from your 86 movie. I recognize the 86 guys. That's my wheelhouse. Outside of that, I start to get a bit lost. But Shattered Glass, Soundwave. I do love the Shattered Glass concept. The good guy's gone bad, the bad guy's gone good. I think that's a fun excuse for repaints, but they work. They really, really do. And then we got a little Beast Wars action coming at you, like Cleopatra. But again, love the concepts, love the mythology. I mean, a shark that turns into a robot, like that's just awesome. But I think the execution just leaves a little something to be desired, especially when they have a lot of, I keep forgetting, is it brittle? Is it kibble? It's whatever the plastic that like kind of hangs off the, usually it's the robot figure. Because they're normally designed that the disguised version looks perfect. And then the robot is the one that has lots of extra stuff kind of hanging off of it. So yeah, that's just my little critique of Transformers. But I'm not knocking. I appreciate the love that folks have for them. Because again, I love the brand. I love the brand. It's just the execution of the figures. There's the Robo-Sen Optimus Prime over in the corner there. But when he's not moving, he doesn't look that impressive. But they did have a couple of working ones on display, which when you see that thing transform, it is incredible. I was blown away to see that. Now, G.I. Joe, Dr. Mindbender here. This was almost a problem for me because I had decided to quit cold turkey G.I. Joe. I was like, I don't need to buy these guys anymore. I'm out. And then I see everything on display here, and I'm like, just when I thought I was out, you might have pulled me back in. Because then we got the Serpentor flying, whatever it is. The Serpentor's flying thing. And what I was surprised by, Serpentor's big. He ain't a human size. He is, like, if he is a human, like, this dude's at least pushing 7 foot. This is like a Kevin Nash style guy. He is big. He is bigger than an average man. And that's kind of impressive. Or at least it's nice to see, because it is an expensive set. But at least you are actually getting a little bit more for your money. He is not a regular size Joe. I'm sure obviously he fits in with what, he's the size that he should be, but that size is big. Now we got the ladies. I forget her name. Is she a Scarlet? No, she's not a Scarlet. Help me out. I've gone a blank. But what I was saying to the nice Hasbro representative lady, I forget her name as well. I'm terrible with names, but the main G.I. Joe lady, she was an absolute sweetheart, a pleasure to talk to, and we were just banging on about the processes of putting together these faces and how they're designed, and I love this Dreadnought lady as well. I think even if I had gone cold turkey on G.I. Joe, I would still pick her up regardless, because she just looks like so much fun. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a good angle with the light, but she's great. Then we've got our repainted Outback Jack, and I think he's less interesting in his white t-shirt. I'm perfectly happy with my original. I don't need any of the repaints. That's fine. But the ninjas do look cool. Again, like, you could army build the heck out of these guys. And I love just all the detail that's going on there with the different straps, layers, belts, buckles, pockets, pouches, all that jazz. And a female ninja, that's just cool. And if you told me that they're going to do a red bat, I'd be like, I don't need that. And then I saw the red bat and I was like, ooh, that does look nice. That does look real nice. I'm not going to get him. I'll resist, but it's still very cool to see. I was impressed by that. I thought that looked really great. Then we got the Ram Cycle. And again, in pictures, not that taken by it. But seeing the lovely faded tiger paint job on there, I thought it looks decent. And again, I don't need it for my collection, but it was cool to see. Then Bazooka. Again, I was saying before, the figures look a little thicker, just a bit bigger. Like, there's more action figure to it. And I felt like, I would like you on my shelf. You crazy American football bazooka wielding guy, that's great. Then the Swamp Viper person, I know that's not his name, but I forget. But the recolored trooper guy. And then the Jesse Ventura. Again, looking at him, I think, if he was there with his hat as well, he would be looking the business. I like what they've done with that. I think it's good stuff. These new G.I. Joes, they keep improving, man. They keep getting better and better, and it gets harder and harder to walk away. Then we're going to wrap things up with a little bit of the Star Wars. So we've got the Halloween Wookiee, which is kind of fun. I was tempted for a second to buy him because it's Halloween. But then, come on. Then we've got one of the brothers, whichever number he was. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan was terrible. But he looks fun. But this dude from Rogue One and from the games, he's big. I was quite impressed by him. I thought he looked pretty cool, actually. The Star Wars droids always do. The Star Wars, I gotta say, just actually, hands down, the Star Wars Black Series, like, they look great. All of the figures, I don't want them. I'm not gonna buy them. But that doesn't mean that I can't look at them and go, you know what? The face tech, the details on the bodies, the sculpting, all that stuff. Like, this trooper here. He looks bee's knees. And Zuckuss. That is Zuckuss, isn't it? I would have been tempted to buy all the Empire Strikes Back bounty hunters. That would be a fun set. That really would. And Vader himself. I mean, they've made a bajillion Vaders, but seeing him posed there with his robes and the cloth goods, like, man, he does look terrific. And then there's Reva. And Reva, I'm sorry, it's just her expression. She just looks bored. I'm not feeling it. Because she emotes in that TV show. So, there's no excuse for a plain expression on the action figure. Then just some more droids, bit of Andor coming up here. I'm quite enjoying the Andor show, actually. It genuinely is the best Star Wars thing I think they've done for the longest time. And yeah, I think it's a good likeness as well. And we've got the Cantina Band. as well. That's a fun kind of one to just wrap up with there. But there we go. I'm pretty sure that's the rest of the tour all covered. Got a little Endor Forest layer as well, because is it the 30th anniversary of Jedi? No, it must be more than that. But it is a Jedi anniversary. Is it 40? No. Help me out. I'm just naming numbers now. Then the great looking recolored Trooper. I love the popping colors. They're really, really pretty. Again, don't need them, but they're nice to look at. And that's good enough for me. And that actually does wrap up the end of this tour.
So gang, that was my wrap up of just the Hasbro stuff from day one. And there are still so many more things to go through. But that's going to wait for tomorrow. So gang, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Choose.